Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Estate SEO. My name is Josh Guerra, and this is a continuation of our playbook, and this is chapter 3, and today we're going to be talking about on-site SEO, which is essentially kind of everything that you do on the website in order to send signals to Google and to give Google and other search engines enough information to really be able to understand what the page is about and to categorize it properly. And this is going to help you across the board with any sort of SEO campaign that you decide to run. So if you're out there creating content, this is probably going to be a video that you want to watch all the way through. And then we also encourage you to visit our website at realestateseo.com to be able to read through the entire playbook. So if you're really serious about doing SEO, I encourage you to do that. So the very first thing we want to talk about is really just like, honestly, one of the first things you want to do once you publish a page, and that's going to be the URL naming convention. And it's pretty simple. So it's everything after yourdomain.com, after the /. That's the naming convention of the actual URL. Believe it or not, having keywords and descriptive keywords within that URL is actually going to send signals also to Google. And in many cases, sometimes it will bold inside the search results, which will increase click-through rate and things of that nature, especially if it's separated by different directories. So a couple of different tips here. You want to use at least one or two keywords within the URL structure. Try to keep it simple as possible. Don't use hyphens and don't use spaces. That's going to diminish the value of it. Definitely eliminate stop words like the, and, or, a, to, things like that. You also want to keep it all lowercase if possible, especially because depending on the coding language that you utilize, sometimes it won't work properly. So just ensure, best case, just to make it sure it's all lowercase. I don't really understand or know like what your site is coded in. So good rule of thumb, just keep it all lowercase. If it's a blog, try to remove the dates from the actual blog post if possible. If you're on WordPress, there are some settings that you can utilize inside the admin. And if you go on Google and you actually Google like how to find those settings, it's pretty easy to locate. It's under permalinks. So other companies that are out there, like if you go through a platform that has actually built your real estate website, a lot of times they'll have some options to set up the URL naming convention. And really this is really a good option for you guys to utilize to start with SEO on page. So here's some examples that I kind of put together really quickly, and if you refer back, if you actually saw some of the previous videos that we created, we have some different types that we call different types of pages, like listing pages, the general page, and then like a blog. And your listing page is essentially like a page that's dedicated to showcasing listings about a particular vertical, if you will. So like if you're, in this case, like Seven Canyons is a community inside of Sedona. So the URL structure that we would choose for this would be the domain.com /7-canyons-real estate /. And the other one for the general page, you'll see here for mountain biking, it's very descriptive and it shows exactly what that page is about. So this is a really great opportunity to really target the primary keywords that you feel like you can capture. And then same thing for blogs, right? So in case you have a blog that was about staging properties, this is a great way to, put the keyword inside of the URL structure. Every little bit counts, and this is just one of those things that just make a really solid difference in how these pages are indexed and are positioned on Google and other search engines. So the next one, it's more of like a hidden in the code, if you will. So a lot of companies now, like a lot of web development companies, are making this super easy to do. And especially if you're on like a CMS like WordPress, it's actually very easy to implement because there are plugins that you can install. Like if you're on WordPress, you can install a plugin called Yoast, and that plugin will give you the ability to instantly put a title tag and meta description on a particular page very easily. And same thing with any other web development company that develops websites for the real estate arena. So here are some quick tips that you can utilize to be able to optimize your title tags and meta descriptions. So make sure all of your titles and metas across the board are 100% unique. Even if it's dynamic pages, a lot of times you can set parameters and things like that to make them very unique, if you will. And really what this is all about is not having duplication. One thing that you're going to realize as you start to do more and more SEO, Google especially hates duplication because it's really not serving the user purpose. So if you can eliminate any sort of duplication on the web, i.e., titles and meta, that's a good thing. I would also, again, put 1 to 2 keywords max inside your title and meta description. Wonderful opportunities. And when you think about it, right, if you remember a moment ago, like with the URL structure, sometimes Google will bold those inside the search results. Same thing goes for your titles and metas. So I don't know if you know this or not, but if you go on Google and you type in a particular keyword in the search results, the blue link and the little description below it are actually your title and meta descriptions. So if you can actually put the keywords in there, it's also going to give you kind of a leg up because sometimes they'll bold, which will increase your click-through rate. So it's very cool in that regard. I would also not make these any longer than 50 to 75 characters for the title tag. I would also consider using your brand name wherever possible, usually at the very end of the title tag. Special characters are okay, like within reason. So if you want to use like exclamation point or a hyphen or, a slash, you can totally do that. Just make sure that you're not putting like a ton of happy faces and things like that. I would not do that stuff. Be very selective. When you're first starting out, I probably wouldn't even use any special characters at all unless it's a hyphen. Just to give some separation between keywords or phrases within your title tag. Use good call to action. Make these enticing because, again, this is what people see when they first do a search on Google. And the more enticing or the more appeal that you can give somebody, the higher likelihood of them clicking on your link, which in Google's eyes, click-through rate is a very good signal of quality. So the more click-throughs that you have, the higher you're going to be positioned on the web. So here's some quick examples of just, just the title tag. So the title tag for this one, like the keyword is Sedona real estate, and the title tag that we would select is, explore Sedona real estate and homes for sale, one group, right? Maybe that's the name of the actual company. One group is the name. And your description could be descriptive of that title tag. You kind of have a little bit of a free-for-all with the description within reason. In most cases, like depending on the actual company you choose for web development, sometimes they'll have a character limit by default, which is great. The next thing, like for this one, is Seven Canyons is a community, as we mentioned, inside Sedona. So Seven Canyons real estate is the keyword. And the title tag could be, view Seven Canyons real estate, some of the best golf properties in Sedona. And it's pretty enticing to some degree, right? Like it's basically, giving people something like we have the best stuff that's out there, especially for golf. Normally if somebody is searching for Seven Canyons, they're an avid golfer because that community lies right on the golf course and it's a wonderful area. So it's just a good way to, put the keywords in it, make it semi-enticing and check all the boxes as far as length and things of that nature. So the next thing that I want to talk about, this one gets a little tricky when it comes to on-site SEO because it's, it takes a few times to kind of get used to it. And a lot of times what happens is, like, depending on the provider and the code they use, sometimes your H tags can be really large or really small, depending on how they have it set up inside what's called the CSS. And we're not going to get into that too much today. But think of like your H tags as a really great way to create some separation in your content and tell Google and other search engines which pieces of content are more important to the user, if you will. So it's kind of like a hierarchy of, importance inside of your page. So, in this case, we're talking about Seven Canyons again, the community. So the very top, potentially in the banner or something at the very top, like the actual of the actual page, your H1 tag is like your top level of importance, and a lot of times it's the largest font, depending on the CSS. And in this case, we would type in something like, view stunning Seven Canyons real estate, and within that H tag, we're putting the primary keyword Seven Canyons real estate, but we're adding a little bit of a call to action in conjunction with that keyword. And usually below that H tag, you'll have like a little bit of a text, like maybe like a body text or something along those lines, like a paragraph or potentially the listings. And then beneath that, you would have another H tag, more content, another H tag, more content, and then just going down the middle, letting Google know what is the most important content and what keywords you're targeting. So the next H tag could be like, incredible Seven Canyons golf courses. The next one could be Seven Canyons community lifestyle. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to live there, not just playing golf, right? Like there's hiking around there. There's, really important landmarks around there. There's incredible views, and, maybe it's gated, things like that. And then, also too, like, the last one could be, a little bit deeper dive into like things to do, et cetera, right? These are just examples of things that you can utilize in order to, optimize the page when it comes to H tags. So the next one that I want to talk about is bolding of keywords. This is another way for you to let Google know what you're trying to target. And, it's if you saw our previous video about content development, you would know that, the keyword density, usually 1% to 3% max is what you want to do. You don't want to stuff keywords. You want to make it seem very organic, and you want to write for the user. So this is your opportunity to go through and bold those keywords, and maybe bold keywords in conjunction with surrounding words. But basically, it's a good indicator for Google and other search engines to let them know what is important to you and what keywords that you're trying to target. In HTML, this is examples of what you can do to bold these keywords. You can use the strong outline or the B for bold outline. And what's kind of nice is most of these CMS or most of the web development providers out there, or if you're on WordPress, make it very, very easy to bold keywords, thankfully. But in case they didn't have that ability and you have to get your hands dirty with HTML, this is how you want to do it. And that will bold those keywords to let Google and other search engines know what keywords that you are trying to target. So the next one is internal linking. And really, internal linking is think of a link as like a vote or a pass of equity or value. And it's your opportunity to, kind of spread the love, if you will, spread the value of these pages amongst each other, right? And not only that, but also give a flow for the user. So in the previous slide, I was talking about, maybe things to do in, surrounding Seven Canyons, right? Maybe one could be hiking, another could be mountain biking. And perhaps you created general pages about hiking and a general page about mountain biking. And if you have if you're actually writing about that inside the paragraph of that particular H tag, you can then at that point drop in a link the links to another page. And the nice part about that is you're giving the user value, and that's the important part. You just don't want to link around because, search engines will start to pick up on that, and it could be deemed as a little spammy. So I would always make sure that if you are doing internal links, make sure there's a little call to action, or make sure that there is some value that you're trying to pass for that user, because you don't want to internal link to something that is just irrelevant, right? Make sure it's semi-relevant to what they're trying to do. And then below that, there's like a little HTML there, I put in. So in case you have to get your hands dirty again, there it is right then and there. And you can put some title tags within the actual link. You can also alt tag it if you wanted to. And thankfully, most CMS or most web development companies out there do make it easy for you to do this. So the next thing, this one's kind of fun because not a lot of people know about it, especially when they're first starting out, that optimizing your images is actually kind of a big deal. So it's very easy to do. And just like the naming convention of your URLs, you can optimize your images in a very similar way, right? So like, let's say if you had an image that was maybe a drone shot of Seven Canyons community, you could put you can name the file 7-canyons real-estate.jpg. And that could be what the naming convention that you can utilize to also let Google know, hey, look, this is the keyword we're targeting. And also, too, if someone goes on Google image search, there is a good likelihood that you're going to pull up also. So you can get traffic in a few different ways on Google, not just generic search, but also from the image search as well. And then within those images, you can also add a lot of times title tags and alt tags. And those are really great ways to also let Google know what that image is about. I mean, especially with the expansion of AI, Google's getting really, really good at understanding what images are, but giving them a little bit more information is just going to keep feeding them info and the right information they need to be able to categorize that page properly. And then last but not least, you also want to size down your images, and you can size your images without killing the clarity, so don't worry about that. There are tools out there. I think one that's out there that's free is called Optimizilla, or if you have Photoshop, you could also optimize your image sizing as well. And really the thought behind that is Google is really taking a proactive approach to speeding up the internet. And that is a very big signal to Google. So the smaller your images are, or the faster they load without killing the resolution, is actually going to improve your SEO because it improves the load times. And Google is all about user experience, and that's really why they're in this proactive approach to speed up the web across the board. So, and then, last but not least is sitemaps. So this one's a little tough because not every provider has this. And if they don't, there are sitemap generators out there that you can utilize. You just have to find them. I can't recommend any right now, but most of the time your web development company, or if you're on WordPress, can dynamically create what's called XML sitemaps. And on a future video that I'm going to create, I'm going to show you how you can actually go in and submit your sitemap to Google, and really think of a sitemap as the hierarchy of the website. And it will let Google and other search engines know when you add and remove pages. So it's very important because if you have a page that's kind of hidden, or maybe if it's like a new listing or something that you really, really want the search engines to know about quickly, the sitemap is a great way to do so. And just make sure that when you're choosing your web development company to build your website, or if you're already on one, ask them if they can do dynamic XML and HTML sitemaps. So anyways, I would say this is kind of a good foundation for on-site SEO. This is going to get you started. There's a lot more advanced techniques out there, but this is a really great foundation for you guys to be able to go in and optimize the content and the pages that you're creating. And I encourage each of you to visit our website at realestateseo.com. And basically, there's a playbook on there. You can read through all of the chapters, and it'll give you as much information as you need to be able to go in and execute a SEO strategy on your own. So anyways, I hope you found this helpful. And until next time, on the next episode of Real Estate SEO, y'all take care. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.